Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I've got you. Hey, everybody. This is Michael Watley, and I am the proud chair of the North Carolina Republican Party. And I'm actually not coming to you today from live at NC GOP Studios. I'm actually coming to you live from Western North Carolina, where we just had a couple of fantastic events with Donald Trump Jr. And really excited to have him up in Buncombe County and Henderson County today. So we're taking this as a live road show today, and very excited to have Commissioner Troxler. And I know, Commissioner, that you had a fantastic day with another member of the Trump family. Why don't we just start off real quick by telling us what you guys had with Secretary Perdue and the whole contingent today?
Well, we were at the State Farmers Market in Raleigh, and Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue and Ivanka Trump were down, and we were talking about the Farm to Families food box program that has been so successful throughout the nation, and we're so thankful for this program and our farmers being able to furnish products to go in the boxes and feed people that need to be fed. So it was an honor to be with them, and I think it went very well.
Excellent, excellent. You know, we usually start out the chairman's chat by just giving our candidates an opportunity to just introduce them to the state. And, you know, we've got viewers who watch this from Murphy to Manio and Watauga to Wilmington. So why don't you just take a few minutes and tell everybody about you and how long you've been serving and the commissioner's position.
Well, I am Steve Troxler. I am a four-term commissioner of agriculture in North Carolina, first elected in 2004, and I went through quite a ordeal to become the commissioner. If you remember back, they said I won, and then they said I didn't win. Then there were lost votes, and it was actually 3 months and 3 days before I ever got to take the office. But it's been really, really good since then. I do live on my farm in Brown Summit, North Carolina, which is about 10 miles north of Greensboro. And my wife, Sharon, and I have been married for 48 years, and we enjoy the farm and the farm life. So I commute to Raleigh every day when I have to go to Raleigh, about 82 miles one way.
Well, I tell you, sir, you know, it's great to have, you know, you over in that position and to be able to look at all of the interests. The Department of Agriculture is not just, you know, regulatory over farms. You guys have a pretty sprawling enterprise over there. You know, give us just a sense of all the different things that you guys do at the department.
Well, I will be as brief as I can, but normally it takes about 3 to 4 hours to explain what we do. But we actually are the largest council of state agency by employment, and we rank number 2 as far as budget. But if you add in the amount of USDA food that we deliver, some 130 million this past year, we would be the biggest in budget too. I've got 21 divisions, and we touch everybody's life 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, whether it be food safety, LP gas inspections, the gas pumps. The list goes on and on and on, the things that we do. I think the good thing is a lot of people don't know what we do, but we are a regulatory agency also. And I think that's good government when you do your job and people are satisfied with the job you do.
Yeah, you know, and when you look at the relationship that you have with Sonny Perdue and the USDA, they are, you know, on a federal scale, as big to the federal government as you guys are to the state government here. And it really does hit every aspect of everybody's lives, like you said. How did you get interested in running for this position in the first place? And, you know, kind of what keeps you going after 4 terms?
Well, I probably lost my mind in the beginning, but the truth of the matter is I had been in agricultural leadership in different positions about my whole adult life. And so it was kind of a natural fit. I can say that I never aspired to be commissioner of agriculture, but when Jim Graham retired and the position opened up. I was encouraged by a lot of people in agriculture to give it a try. So I did, but if you remember, that was the year 2000, and I was not declared the winner that year by some 20,000 votes, but there were so many things that went on, and that commissioner went to federal prison. So I could not back away from it in 2004 and ran again, and eventually was elected. And then I've been elected 3 more terms since then. And one of the amazing things is, from down the ballot, I was able to lead the whole ballot in the last election, which is an honor that not a lot of people can say they've had in a lifetime. So here I am again. I want to do it again for a 5th term.
Excellent. Well, I know that you having come at this position from being a farmer, and your business, small business owner, and the background that you have has really tempered your approach to what the government should be doing. And it's not really a necessarily a heavy hand. I think it's a fair hand, but it's also one that you want to find a way to make sure that the farmers and the department can get to yes, that the food processing folks that you regulate, and you can get to yes. Talk a little bit about how you see the department as really helping to get small business owners, the farmers and others into the right place instead of coming in as a heavy regulatory agency.
Well, I think the one thing that I say, and people believe it after all this time, is I'm from the government and I'm here to help you, and they believe it. But the thing we've been able to do through partnerships in North Carolina and partnerships with USDA, when I walked in the door to the department, the economic impact of agriculture and agribusiness was 59.6 billion. That's with a B. Today it's 92.7 billion. So we've been able to help a lot of people, and we've got a lot of initiatives still out there. Food processing, we think, can be huge for North Carolina. We have worked on a partnership with NC State, the Kannapolis campus, Commerce, and EDCNP, and we've developed the Food Innovation Lab down in Kannapolis. And what we think this is going to do, we're going to have companies come in and do innovative things with food and food products. And then we're going to talk them into staying in North Carolina because of our business climate, and it's such a great place to live, and develop business opportunities in food, and thus develop opportunities for farmers to raise more products. So we've got a bright future ahead of us. I had a goal of having us be $100 billion industry by 2020. And because of hurricanes, tropical storms, trade wars, COVID-19, people think we didn't make it, but these figures are 2 years behind. So I'll let you know in 2022 that we are a $100 billion industry in North Carolina.
And when you look at the North Carolina farmers, it's an absolutely amazing group of people. From growing Christmas trees up in the West to the poultry industry, to the livestock industry with the pigs and the hogs, and everything in between with row crops. We used to be seen as just kind of tobacco and tobacco only. Talk about how the North Carolina agricultural community has grown up over the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, we were a tobacco state for a long time, and tobacco is still an important crop in North Carolina, about $700 million a year. But as tobacco declined, we became very diverse. We developed a huge pork industry. The number one industry in the state is actually poultry, and the animal industry makes up 68% of the farm gate receipts in North Carolina now. But if you look at national rankings, we rank so highly in so many crops, it's amazing. We're in the top 10, and I think some 20 crops that we grow. And a lot of them people wouldn't think about, but people love strawberries. We're number 3 in the nation in fresh strawberries, number 4 in blueberries. How about number 5 in trout production, number 2 in Christmas trees, number 1 in sweet potatoes? And the list just keeps going on and on and on. And that diversity is our strength, and even more diversity would be good. So we're working on a new crops initiative with NC State University to look for that next crop that we can grow that will make money for farmers.
Yeah, and when you talk about it, it really is a statewide, kind of community, and it's all good. But a lot of it is really focused on that kind of, east of 95 area. And we've got such a huge breadbasket, really, for North Carolina with Johnston County and Sampson County and Duplin County and those areas, and what they mean. That really did get hit. You mentioned with the hurricanes, and you mentioned with the storms. How hard is it really when these farms, the hurricanes come through and people get flooded, they get leveled? How difficult is it to really try and get back on their feet? And what do you do? Because I know a lot of it is, what is the assistance that's going to come from the federal government? But you really do a lot of work to try and help those farmers recover from these storms.
Well, I've been to Eastern North Carolina every time there's been a hurricane, and I've surveyed the crop damage. I've landed and got out in the water with farmers and people whose houses have been flooded. And I thought I had seen it all until Hurricane Florence hit, and then right behind it, Tropical Storm Michael. Farmers are a tough bunch of people. They have worked hard. They have survived. They're resilient. But after Florence, there was a difference. There were tears in everybody's eyes. There were tears running down their cheeks. They had lost everything. Their houses were flooded. And I knew without some type of serious help that we were going to lose many of the farm families in North Carolina. So I went to the legislature and I asked for $250 million in a disaster aid. And that sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But when you consider the farm gate receipts are normally somewhere in the $13–14 billion range, and we lost about $1.2 billion just in Hurricane Florence. And I thought I had really choked the legislature up with that huge figure, but they came back and did offer 240. Which I gladly was able to take. And the amazing thing was, in this politically charged world that we live in, the vote was unanimous in all the committees. The vote was unanimous out of the Senate, unanimous out of the House, and the governor immediately signed it. I tell people at the department, my big ideas are their big problems, and distributing that much money in a fashion that was done quickly, because the money had to get out there quickly, but also done efficiently and done in a way that prevented fraud. It wasn't an easy task, but the people in the department stepped up. We did get that money out timely. I think we finally got money in November. We had checks out the door in January, and that program was complete in about 9 months' time. So I'll forever be thankful for the legislature stepping up, and thankful that I had the people in the department with the ability and the fortitude to get that money out.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier a very good friend of mine, and I know a good friend of yours, Sonny Perdue, and I was, had the opportunity to work on the president's transition team and be a part of Sonny's confirmation team and work with him to kind of set up the department here. Talk a little bit about what it means to have a president who is so pro-farmer and a secretary who is a farmer himself. I cannot think of a better Secretary of Agriculture than Sonny Perdue, and what it's like for you at a state level to be able to work with him in the Trump administration.
Well, even during the time we went through trade wars and tariffs, the president has stepped up to the plate, and he's helped us get through that. And Sonny Perdue and I have developed a very special relationship, and within his department, there are 4 of my very close friends that were with me at the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture when I was president, and 3 of them are former presidents, my peers. So I don't know that I could have it any better. I can pick the phone up and call Sonny anytime. I can get his undersecretaries anytime. And Sonny comes down, and we're able to do some one-on-one talking, and they've been very responsive, and the president's been responsive. So We're going to get through everything, but it is so, so important that we don't lose President Trump and we don't lose a secretary like Secretary Perdue.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's great because as we were going through and putting together the farm policy for the president, on every single tough question, the answer was what's best for the farmers. And it wasn't, where are we going to go on this issue, or what about the trade implications, or what about the tax implications or the regulatory implications? Every single time, what's best for the farmers. And you've got a great network also in Congress. Our good friend David Rouser, who serves on the Agriculture Committee, and Senator Tillis, who has been, such a champion for our farmers over in Congress. And we can't thank them enough for the support that they're giving to the agriculture community and our farmers down here. And then also, you mentioned being able to work with our leaders in the state legislature, folks like Jimmy Dixon and Brent Jackson. Talk about what it means to have those types of leaders working on agriculture issues in the state house and in Congress to be able to help you get your job done and help our farmers.
Well, if you remember, when I came into office, we had a Democratic governor, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic House. And I'm going to tell you, in the beginning, they weren't really kind to me. In fact, one of the first things that happened, there was a senator that introduced a bill to make my position appointed by the governor. So that has changed dramatically. In fact, when the Republicans took over the legislature, one of the first things they did is make some changes in the structure of government that should have been done many, many years ago. They actually put forestry under the Department of Agriculture, where it should have been all in the beginning. We were handed grade A milk, so that's where it should have been. Soil and water conservation should have been in the department all along. They're now in the department. And then they did hand me one I didn't quite understand. It's called bedding products. And there's a little tag on mattresses and pillows that say they have been inspected and sanitized. But I got that too. And this was the time that the bed bug epidemic was going on. So I thought they probably had the reasoning, if I was over pesticides, I ought to be able to figure a way to get rid of bed bugs. So we're a much larger department now. And the good thing is we can do so much more now in disaster response with forestry under us and soil and water. So it's made us a much better department as far as what we can do for the state. And I couldn't be any happier with the way the legislature has treated us. And an example is we had 40-year-old labs and still do in Raleigh that serve the public every day in food safety, veterinary medicine, motor fuel standards. We could not heat and air condition these buildings for the tolerance of the new instruments. So the legislature included $94 million in the bond issuance for us to build a consolidated lab. I can't tell you how much difference that's going to make in the efficiency of what we do every day. So they have been very kind to me. I have a lot of friends in that legislative building, and controlling that legislature is as important as it's ever been. So there's a lot of work to do this year, especially on the ground with grassroots. And I hope everybody will get out and work as hard as they can. I've heard in the 6 statewide elections that I've been in, every election, somebody has said this is the most important election of our lifetime. And it's been true every time, but maybe even more so this time. I mean, with some of the things that are going on in the country with the riots and Marxism and those things, we have got to get out and uphold this country. So it's up to us. We're the people, we're the leaders. And if we don't do it, we're not going to have this country that all these lives have been lost over the years in wars and all the service of our military men and women. It'll mean nothing if we lose control of this country.
Yeah, I could not have said it better myself. I think that when we look at, President Trump and his ability to put Sonny Perdue in place, when we look at the legislature and having folks like Jimmy and Brent who are able to lead on those committees and with that legwork, top to bottom, absolutely going to be a critical election cycle for us. I want to switch gears real quick. One of the questions that we ask everybody is how did they meet their spouse, right? And Sharon is the most wonderful lady in the world. And so we have to just kind of ask, how in the world did you get so lucky to get a lady like that to marry you?
I hate to say this, but we evidently had a weak signal during that. So if you would repeat that, I'll see if the signal gets any better.
Sure. So we always ask everybody how in the world they got to marry such great spouses, and want to see how you doing with how you met Sharon and what it means to have her by your side.
How you and Sharon.
Hold on just 1 second.
How you and
that's another interesting story, and unfortunately, she just walked in here. But I'll tell the story anyway. We actually met in the 8th grade. I was a basketball player, and one of our rivals came in, and she played girls basketball. And since she's not listening really good, I can tell you she was not very good, but she was cute. So we went to a consolidated high school, and we met there and got to dating, and ended up, we dated in high school, got married at the end of our sophomore year in college, had 2 sons, built a farming operation. So she gets a lot of the credit for my success and her success. And I've got 2 really smart sons. And everywhere I go, people say, they must have a smart mama. And that's the truth. She is.
That's absolutely fantastic. One other thing that everybody knows, everybody associates with you in the department is the state fair, which unfortunately this year we didn't get to have. But you guys also have a lot of other facilities around the state that are kind of closed. But, what are the plans for you guys, once we move past the crisis point here with COVID-19 to be able to open it back up and try and get the fair back on its feet?
Well, probably one of the most gut-wrenching decisions that I have ever made was to cancel the state fair and the Mountain State Fair. And when I did it, I said that, we schemed, we prayed, we worked, and we never could come to a solution of how we could put these fairs on and have any expectation of having the public safe. So that had to be the first consideration. But we set up the largest midway in North America at the state fair, over 100 rides, and there's no way to sanitize those rides. There's no way to social distance at the fair. If that fair is social distance, I've lost my butt. And it was a financial decision that had to be played out too. We had 205 events canceled that we would normally make revenue on at the fairgrounds because of COVID. And it put us in a bad financial situation. And quite frankly, I've had to furlough 42 full-time employees and 13 part-time employees just to get to the point that we could make it to the end of the year. We could not have opened another fair without help from the legislature, and I was able to come up with a way to do that without asking for additional funds, but being able to have flexibility to spend some money. So we've got the state fair and the Mountain State Fair back on track. I believe there will be so much pent up fair want to by the time we get to 2021. I think we'll have the biggest and best fair we've ever had, and I really look forward to that. And it's going to be a strange October. Not having a fair for 11 days to live with and enjoy and see. And the main thing is see all the people. It is really nice to have 1 million people come to visit you, and you get to go out and be with them every day. So I'm going to miss that, but we're back on track, and we will have the best fair in 2021 anybody's ever seen.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic news, because I know how much that means to people all over the state, not just the agricultural community, but really everybody and anybody that has been to the fair before is going to want to get back there. You mentioned today having Ivanka Trump come into town, and I know you had Congressman Rouser and Hudson over there as well, but she kind of steals the show, doesn't she?
Ivanka steals the show.
Oh, now Ivanka is a rock star. Everybody wanted to stop and take a picture with her. And it was, like I say, it was an honor to be with her. I mean, she's got that swagger that people recognize. And it was one of the funny things that happened today. We stopped at a stand that was selling flowers and peppers and vegetables, and we have a hot pepper in North Carolina called the Carolina Reaper. This thing is at the very top of the scale as far as hot, and I noticed her looking at the board about the rankings of hot pepper, and she saw a basket of Carolina Reapers over in the corner, and she picked one up. I said, "Do not let anybody talk you into tasting this thing. You'll never be able to talk again." And I said, "When you put that down, do not touch your face because it will actually burn your skin from contact." So that was kind of a light moment that we had today, but it was such an honor to have her there.
Excellent. Well, listen, I know you led the top of the ticket with the most votes in 2016. What can all of our viewers here and all of our Republicans all across the state do to make sure that you get more votes than anybody else on the ballot this time? It is so important for us to make sure that you remain in place as the commissioner.
Well, I think the main thing is spread the word and help get the word out about my opponent. There's a state law that says the Commissioner of Agriculture has got to be a farmer engaged in their profession. I have filed my 47th consecutive Schedule F, which is the profit and loss from farming. I doubt that she's ever filed one before. I doubt that she's a farmer, but it does take experience and leadership and knowledge of agriculture to be successful in this position. So people got to get out and work. And while I led the ballot in 16, I'm going to win this election, and I'm going to work hard. But I would be happy if President Trump leads the ticket and Senator Tillis is right behind him and Dan Forrest is right behind them, and I'm right there with all of them. But they are key races that we need to make sure we win in North Carolina.
Well, I tell you what, anytime you want to run for state party chair, I think you got the talking points down pat. So listen, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us today. And it's very exciting for me to be able to come to you from Western North Carolina, to be out on the road with Don Jr. and, have all the rest of the Trump family that's here in the state. And of course, we had President Trump come in on Tuesday to 15,000 people over in Winston-Salem. And what that really means is that this election cycle is on. We're 52 days out from Election Day. We've got early voting coming up on October 15th, and we've got absentee voting where the ballots have already started going out. So I want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. And Steve, I can't thank you enough for joining us here. And we wish you the best on the campaign trail over the next couple of months.
Well, one thing I can guarantee you that I'll outwork anybody that wants to take me on. So from that standpoint, we're going to get it done.
Outstanding. And to all of our viewers, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you.